some days people just wake up like that. They don't feel it that day. There's nothing wrong with it. We're gonna have days where we're not feeling it. And the fact that you're even worried, the fact that you're worried if God is angry or upset or if he's disappointed, it shows a lot that you care, that you're concerned. There's people out there that don't even care. And you're ahead of most of them. You know, sometimes it's just the way you interpret it. Sometimes it's just understanding, like, to enjoy the good times ahead, you've got to go through a little bit of sorrow now, just to fulfill it, just to feel the difference. Because the difference is how we really measure anything. Sometimes for me, it's just creating my own rituals. One of the better ways you can communicate with the Most High, it's not the only way. I'm not saying it is the best way. Some people, it might not work. Some people will, depending on how they do it. But make your own, something unique to you that you do to get into a certain type of mindset. You can create something where you do this and you get communication with the universe, communication with the Most High before you ask a question. And you'll develop a habit, so when you do these things, sometimes the answers just pop up in your mind, as long as you let go and let it fill you up. That energy, that dark energy, you know. Because if you were to imagine yourself as a vessel, if you were to imagine yourself as empty inside, you have to do that. You have to be empty in order for the spirit to flow inside. I don't know if you've ever tried to pour water in a full cup. It runneth over. You gotta be empty first so it can go inside. So if this day is just bothering you or it's making you feel like you're incomplete, like you're missing something, like you're not doing something right, remember this. Everything is already as it should be. Everything is already as it should be. Nothing is out of place. This was a necessary thing. And, you know, it's a sign. It's a show that you care. It's a show that you care. That you're concerned. That you're worried about it. And that's better than most people, like I said. So, and look, sometimes we do make mistakes. Sometimes we don't live up to the image we wanted to be. Sometimes we don't. It's important not to compound it though. Because sometimes, like, people will be mad at themselves because they make a mistake. And then they'll make themselves worse because they're limiting themselves because they already made one mistake. So now you're making a second one. You know? Don't use it as an excuse to do worse. Understand why you did what you did. You're like, oh, okay, so if I do this a little bit more instead of this, then I'll be less likely to do that. You know what I'm saying? Figure out what it was, but don't dwell on it, you know. You know, one thing I learned when I was in boxing was you could get hit, and if you dwell on that one hit you take, you're going to take a bunch more. That's with anything else in life. Any game, any sport, any task. If you make a mistake and you dwell on the mistake, here comes a bunch more. If you're insulted and you dwell on the insult, here come a bunch more. If you take a hit If you take a loss and you dwell on it, you're going to take a bunch more. Just take it and move on, like nothing happened. And it won't affect you. You might even forget it happened. Life itself is a daily grind, you got to get up, pick yourself up every day, and, continue on every day. But it's not as druid and bland and mundane and terrible as people like to make it out to be. They just don't want to look at it that way, because you can't have the good without the bad. And you're seeing, like, as you go through your spiritual evolution, your life, that you're slowly growing out of things that aren't meant for you. Especially if you're going according to what you want to do and experience. You're slowly growing out of bad ways, bad habits for you. Because a lot of the things that used to scare you don't scare you anymore. So when that fear is gone, you got room for new emotions about that topic. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen to all pain as we go through not just this life, but all reincarnations in the future as well. Like, I really think that pain on this level would be, on the higher level, it might just be like, a tap. Because you're getting stronger as you go along. A lot of your reincarnations, as you go along, you become stronger. They might follow a pattern. But I do know one thing for sure. And that's, as you go through life, a lot of the things you used to be afraid of, you might not be afraid of anymore. There's a lot of things that you do now that you love now. There was a point in time where you never loved it, where you didn't know what it was. It might have even terrified you. But you completely forget about it for the new experience. So even that bad feeling, whatever it is, it'll be replaced by that new experience as well. So don't sweat it. Understand it's a good sign. You just don't see it yet. Life is it's a daily grind, A lot of the things that you were tripping about yesterday, the day before, last week, you might not even remember today. And that's the same thing with whatever you're dealing with today. I'm going. And remember, life is about the journey, not the destination.